Hello and welcome to Practice Insider's Edge. My name is Dr. Derek Barron.
And I'm Terri Barron.
We want to welcome you back this week for the power of generosity as a power principle. So it's our second series in kind of the mindset component, what we spoke about last week in regards to gratitude. We spoke really about how you are grateful for what you have in your staff, grateful for what you have in your patients, and grateful for everything that's going on in your life. And it's still really a mindset component. And so I want to share with you our mindset slide again real quick. So I'm going to add that to the screen. So as you can see that on the screen, as I said last week, inside of the mindset component, we have stories that go on, whether it's our personal life, our business life. Those stories that we've had in our past influence everything that goes along. The thoughts, you can see on the very top of that, thoughts are very powerful because your thoughts, again, lead to your feelings, which lead to your actions, which lead to your results, which lead to your beliefs, and which leads to your identity. So this cycle continually goes through and you're growing every time in your practice. And just like we talk about in the practice leverage method, you're growing from a clinician to a CEO. So there are mindset components that change all the time. But again, this is the time of season that is giving. And we want to talk about the generosity component. So I'm going to bring this back to Terri and have her dive in a little bit more for you.
Right. So when we talk about generosity, and this week is Thanksgiving week, so the perfect time we thought to bring that top of mind awareness for our healthcare private practice owners, business owners, because not only do you want to be grateful, which we talked about, but you also want to make sure that you recognize that being generous and giving to others without expectation that you have to receive something back in turn is a power principle to help you grow both in mindset, and you will reap rewards from your generosity, sometimes in ways that you don't expect. And we want to encourage that you're bringing this to your mindset as a private practice owner, as well as just in general. So the quote that we have for you to start off today's topic, power principle, is you will discover that you have two hands. One is for helping yourself, and the other is for helping others. And as healthcare providers, this probably sounds very simple, right? We're in our industry because we want to help others. We want to give to others. So this may feel redundant that you already know this, but we get busy. We get overwhelmed with life. We get overwhelmed with a world pandemic. Yeah. We get overwhelmed with a lot, and we fall into daily routines, daily grinds, and we forget some of these simple principles that we know we should be living by. So today's episode of our Practice Insider's Edge is really just to help remind you during this week of Thanksgiving that giving to others in ways maybe beyond and in addition to what we already do as private practice healthcare owners and giving our services is really important to your mindset and to growing your practice as well as growing yourself. So let's talk about some tips and tricks that we can offer you in terms of what do we mean by be generous, give to others in ways that aren't just giving our services that we do on a day-to-day basis. So we have 3 suggestions for you today. Again, these may be things that you already do, things that you think of, but again, we're hoping that we bring this top of mind awareness during this week of Thanksgiving. And some of these are actually ideas to start prepping you for the remainder of the holiday season, for the Christmas holiday season. So tip number 1 is what we want to be. We want to be generous to who? We want to be generous to those who are most important to us, that help our practice to thrive. And without them, we wouldn't have a practice. And that would be our
family. I would think first, of course, and our staff.
And our patients. So that group of people that are so close to us, right? That we want to be generous to them. So some ideas to throw out there, and Derek actually tipped you off, gave you a preview last week of how you could be generous to your patients in our gratitude summary last week, was that we can prep by having some gift cards from other local businesses ready to surprise your patients, your staff, your family members with. I know our 16-year-old son, who's very important to making sure that our business and our family stays balanced and grows, would be thrilled if he got a little gift card the week of Thanksgiving for something that is special to him or important to him. For patients, it could be things like
Well, just think of a few different businesses, whether they're friends of yours or not, or if it's a business that you think could be a power partner for yourself. Go out and buy a $5, a $10, a $15, whatever you're comfortable with financially,
Right.
knowing that it'll make an impact in that business owner's life, especially if it's a food-related industry right now because of what's happening. But if it's a coffee shop, it's a small coffee shop, a restaurant. Here in the community where we live in, pizza businesses are doing well because of delivery. So you can help them. There's somebody that we know quite well has a yogurt shop. And as we approach winter here in Illinois, yogurt doesn't seem to be the thing, but people want to escape from natural. It's called Yogurt Beach. They'll want a gift card where they can go in and grab something. So if there's a business, and our suggestion would be just don't select it from one business. Select it from a few so you are benefiting the entire community and not just some. And if you don't know that business, it's a great way to introduce yourself and tell them about your services as well. But just say, this is what we're doing to try and help our community as an act of generosity. So don't just go after one, go after a few businesses in the community.
Exactly. And how you then distribute your little gifts, that's totally up to you how you want to do it. You may know that there's a patient of yours. We talked about our son earlier, and that's great because sometimes we overlook family during this very important time of year and take them for granted. But it could also be a patient that is struggling. Maybe it's a gift card to a grocery store, and even if it's only $10, that this is a week that they could really use that. And you surprise them and put it in a little thank you card. However you want to do it, have a little piece of candy and just hand it to them and say thank you at the end of their treatment session. So how you disperse these little gifts is completely up to you. And again, for staff, maybe you write them a little thank you card as, part of last week and us talking about having gratitude and being grateful for those close to us that help our practice to survive and then to thrive. So maybe you buy a Starbucks gift card because your staff really love that, and you give them a little thank you card the week of Thanksgiving. So however you want to do that is up to you. So that was one group that we wanted to bring to your attention that you could be generous to this week. We've kind of touched on the second group already, which is the local businesses that are very challenged. And again, Derek really went into great example to explain to you who you might choose, how you might choose. No harm in choosing the big box people too. If you know that Starbucks is something that is special to your staff member, it's okay to do that too. But also we really do want you to keep in mind those local businesses that could be struggling, especially as this time of year is so different with the world dealing with the pandemic and how people are actually shopping and utilizing services. So that's group number 2. Group number 3 is actually charities. And that tends to be what people think about being generous for during the holiday season. But now is the time to start thinking about that. It's almost getting late to think about that. And so the types of charities that we often see in private practices are things like
food shelters that you have, Toys for Tots, jackets. There are too
Coats
many
for kids.
Coats for kids. Any one of those. And if you don't have something yet in your practice that you're going for, and you can run all 3 of them, a food drive, a toy drive, a coat drive, reach out to one of your local religious centers. It doesn't matter what faith that you have. They would all love and appreciate, your time to help them because they know you're thinking about them. And again, I hate to bring it up, but there is a self-serving component to this. Whatever you are going to give, you are going to receive in return. So if you reach out to a community organization that deals with Toys for Tots, they may not know you exist in the community, and that's a top of mind awareness component for them. So if it's the coats, again, depending on where you are in the States, here in Illinois, we're already, in November, mid-swing, just before Thanksgiving here, and it's cold already. Yeah. We're going to have some warm days coming in between here, but it's been cold. And just think there are kids that, I guess we're fortunate because of the pandemic, they're staying inside. They're not able to get out, but that moment that they want to get outside, we want them to be warm. So a coat's a great thing for that. And again, as Christmas approaches here in the States, we all want every single kid to wake up with a present under the tree. So if you can have that in your business, it's a great way in which we've done that with some churches in our community with our practices. It's a great way to make an impact that you will never see, but just imagine that little toy that's in there for the boy or girl when they open that up. Their world's a different day that day when it's been very, very hard for them. So that's just something to consider.
Exactly. So, in the spirit of generosity, we want to make sure that we remind you, whether you're a current client of ours or not, thinking about it, that we also want to give to you. So, in the spirit of generosity, what we offer for being generous.
Yeah, whether it's on this page, there might be a link to set up a consultation call. This is a discovery call that we say, but we would like to, get on a video call like this, or it can be a phone call where we literally ask you what's going on, just like you would from a diagnostic perspective. When a patient comes in your practice, we need to know what's going on. We need to know what has worked, what hasn't worked, what ideas do you have, and maybe we can give you some ideas moving forward in the future. We'd love that opportunity to share our knowledge with you. And again, something that you have to understand, if we don't know it, we've got a great network that we reach out to and ask to help the people that work with us, because when you win, we win, everybody wins. It's a triple win effect. So feel free to send us a message, click the link. We'd love to have a chat with you.
And just as a reminder, that is a complimentary call. So those discovery calls, there's no fee for that. And we really like to connect with you if there's something that we can do to help you with running your practice, whether it's running it, growing it, starting it from the ground up. But we would like to help. And so in the spirit of generosity, please take us up on signing up for a discovery call with us. So to wrap up today's message, we have one more quote for you. And I think this is probably one in the healthcare field that we all have at least been exposed to before, but I know it touches a lot of us. So the quote is, "We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give." And that's by Winston Churchill. And so we just wanted to wrap it up and remind you that it is about what we give and being generous this time of year, and not just starting this week of Thanksgiving, but throughout the entire holiday season with Christmas coming up very quickly. Just remember that your mindset should be about that generosity and giving, and don't take for granted that just because we give to patients every day as part of the services that we provide them, that's always enough. So keep in mind that positive mindset of giving a little bit more, and especially making it a surprise and making it special during this holiday season.
Yeah. So quickly to wrap this up, thank you. Great message as always, Terry. But from our family, my wife, Terri, our son, Reese, and our extended family, we want to wish you, your family and friends, and your patients and staff a very happy Thanksgiving if you are celebrating here in the States, and for elsewhere, we wish you a fantastic week ahead.